Lord. Hey everybody, it's a happy Monday here. How are y'all doing? Yeah, I'm learning get driving the bus here, getting it back on the road. Well, greetings everyone. May I just invoke great favor upon all of you and nothing missing, nothing broken. Comforting favor. I think we could use some of that. There, the world's gone crazy, hasn't it? How's everybody doing out there? So good to see everyone. Hello, Twisted Isby. Hey, Susie Q. Grandpa Brian. Hello. Pamela, good to see you. Nina the Mystic. Nina, I want to get you on here. T-Cat, how you doing? Regina, hello. Hello, Julianne Payne from Down Under. Big Al, our road warrior. Safety, favor to you. May the miles go by like the wind, Al. Good to see you. And to you, Danny, I think it's your partner there, isn't it? So hi to you both. And, well, just email me then, Nina. We'll get it in there. Hey, David Castle, Truth in Me, and John Prince. Eric, how are you doing? Melissa, good to see you. I think I saw David Barry in there earlier. How you doing, David? Infinite Frequency 6111, good to see you. Lori, hello, how are you? Will and Jerry and Lena, Leanne, good to see you. Scotty Boy and B3, how are you to be? So many good people here. How was y'all's Saturday and Sunday? Mine was weird. It's getting weird out there. Tell you what, panic in the streets. And, it's real interesting because I'm hearing, the news stations going, now, there's no reason to panic. Well, why didn't you say that 2 weeks ago when you had everybody in a panic? And now everybody is in a panic. I don't know if you've been to the store, the grocery store. We did, and it's everywhere. I think it was the assistant manager place where we shop. We've been shopping there for nearly 15 years. They said in the last 4 days, the average ticket, when you combine all the tickets, people buying groceries, it's a little over $300. With all this panic nonsense going up, $500. People are panicking and for no reason at all. It's going to get worse. Today, you saw in the world markets what a haircut looks like for $30 trillion worldwide. Hello, Truth in Me. How are you doing? It's nuts, folks. And those of you in the healthcare industry, you know what's happening. Employees are stealing masks, gloves. Here's something you're going to hear a lot more of. There are blood shortages going to be showing up. And the problem is they don't know if this is in the blood. And if it is, it's the dominoes have started to tip. And we're here today to bring some sanity to this. Got to bring some sanity. It's nuts. People are beginning to literally live in a panic. Most people live in a state of fear anyway. We'll get more into that. But when you begin to add this psychosis, and this is what's happening, ladies and gentlemen, this is a mass psychosis. Not denying that there isn't a virus. So what, folks? In the United States, they just updated the number. 20,000 people in this flu season have died of influenza. And this is a virus. This is what happens with humans. Humans spread viruses. It's what we do. And there have been many different type of viruses, but what we're seeing now is absolute, I believe, is a script that has been purposely injected into the consciousness of society. And society has sucked this up. I could use many different metaphors, but we'll just leave it as it is. But the fact is that you're seeing it now. People are starting to die over this nonsense. And it's only going to get worse. I wish it would turn around. I don't see it. There's an agenda here. There's a reason they're doing this. And I don't know why, but It's having an effect on everything. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do something instead of just bitching about it. I see so many of the YouTube channels and the headlines that I see that, they come up. Stop the fear mongering, folks. Stop it. You're just part of the problem. And don't use the disguise of saying, well, we're trying to keep people informed to the alternative, what news that's not out there. You're not doing anything. You're just adding to the hype. And if you're going to do that, then I challenge you to offer a solidified solution to your fear. Fear's the mind killer. Article came out. In fact, we're going to cover it. What fear will do to you where sickness is concerned. Your immune system may be perfectly aligned to rebuff this COVID-19. Many people do. But the minute you add fear and the worry, you open yourself up, you become susceptible to actually creating it within your mind. That's why I called it a psychosis. And mark my words, you're going to hear that word spread across the news media because it is now officially a public psychosis. All right, so this is our solution to this. We speak favor on this situation. Why? Well, because we know that people speak spells all the time. And folks, I'll just be blunt. If you're afraid of what's going on, you're under a spell. There has been a magic cast upon your feeble minds, and you have come under a spell. Literally. Rebuff it. And this is how you start doing it. We speak these things because we know them to be true. We don't believe it, we know it. We don't think it, we know it. We don't have to guess about it, no, we know it. All these favors will come upon, and I'm going to use the first person, me. Put your name in there and overtake me if I give voice to them each day. Right on my wall, I have these. How many of you, I bet you, if I was to take an honest poll, virtually all of you have stopped saying this in your lives. Prove me wrong. Favor will be with me in the city. Favor will be with me in the country. Favor will heal my body when I speak favor into my body. Favor will set apart my children, my animals, and the ground, my ground, as favored with abundance of joy. No weapon formed against me can prosper. Every word that is spoken against me shall be rebuffed and go back upon that which spoke. My words only produce that which I speak for them to do. Favor will be on my food, my water, my pantry. Favor will walk with me when I come in and when I go out. Favor will cause my enemies to be at peace with me. Favor will be upon my barns and storehouses where I keep my valuables to prosper and be in safety. Favor will be upon me in everything I undertake. Everything I set my hand to, favor shall cause it to prosper. Favor shall be upon all of my material property and shall cause it to last longer and not break. Favor shall protect me, my offspring, my possessions from calamity. Favor will lead me to good fortune in all things. Favor will cause me to be the head, not the tail. Favor will cause me to come out on top and not beneath. Favor will cause me to always be above, not below. Favor will cause me to have favor with the elements. Favor will cause me to be favored with the spirit realm. Favor will cause me to be favorable to everyone I meet. They will see me with favor. Favor will seek me out. And we say it will be created in my words, and what was said has been done. Now, that is a key right there. There is something else that we can pull up. Give me 1 second as I get this. There is available if you want it. There we go. There is a cleansing and invocation ritual. That's what we do as humans. We have rituals. We have routines. This is what we do. But this is been vetted out. It works, particularly when you start adding your faith to it. And once you know it, there's no questioning. We get into cleansing your room, how you can actually do that, what to use. There have been other people who help put this together, and it's beautiful. Folks, this works. This is the kind of magic you want in your life. This is the kind of magic you want manifesting in your life, in your children's lives, in your business, in your bank accounts, in your pantry, in your body. This is the kind of favor you want. I recommend you do it on a new moon, but you can do it anytime you want. And it's very detailed. And if you want it, write me and we'll get it sent to you. These are the things that, in my opinion, actually do something worthwhile. And it's better than sitting there and telling you, well, you got to be careful about going out. You better have this in your house, and you better have toilet paper. Who'd have ever thought? Toilet paper has now become one of the most expensive commodities out there. It's nuts. Like I said, I've been shopping at the same store for 15 years. And I never, ever saw the shelves, particularly toilet paper, bleach, empty, gone. Signs up there allocating 2 rolls of packages of toilet paper per customer when it's in. This is the psychosis, folks, and it's a very evil spell. Evil exists. This one's very evil. You know why I can call it evil? Show me any good. Show me any good. There is none. This becomes a cesspool that begins to breed more and more. And, folks, when you see financial markets melt down like they have been doing, this is a 20% correction in the market. The market can't absorb a 20% correction. I'm speaking to a lot of you folks because I want to let you know potentially what's coming down, layoffs. I belong to certain organizations that we get forecast. Layoffs are coming. Yeah. It was bad enough that the way that this was handled to begin with. But when, and I'm on the record, I told you almost 6 weeks ago that this was going to happen, that when the supply lines get interrupted, it's not good for us here. The United States is dependent on foreign countries for virtually all of its consumer goods. It puts a country at tremendous exposure and risk, and now it's happening. I know of car manufacturers already going to be laying off tens of thousands of people. This is in virtually every other associated industry. Layoffs are coming. Why? They can't get the materials, the parts that are primarily made in China to get over here. When you begin to see governments beginning to institute what they'll call voluntary quarantines, it's going to become anything but voluntary. When you begin to see companies begin to put into the plans of having their employees telecommute, eventually what happens is that no matter what type of industry, whether it be software, whether it be manufacturing or otherwise, disruptions, when they begin to hit one sector, have a domino effect. And you want to talk about isolation? Many times once you have a conversion to something, it becomes very difficult to go back. I was shocked that the city of Austin canceled South by Southwest. My company, we got funded because of South by Southwest back in the day. That is where Twitter started was at South by Southwest. Number of things that you use today came out of South by Southwest. My company was the first company to do a live internet broadcast from South by Southwest. It adds nearly $1 billion to the Austin economy. Now, when you summarily cut that off right from the heart, I mean, you just severed it. Excuse me, those are type of situations that, folks, it may seem incidental, but it's systemic of something much more serious. And I would encourage any city council, any corporate government, if you're hearing this, and there's a lot of people, one thing I love about this channel, we have a very diverse audience. Many of them don't talk, but they listen. I'm telling you, folks, stop the madness. This is a virus. Okay. It's no different than if you have a cold virus. People die of the cold. I did a thing. You two didn't like it. And I'm happy to say that maybe someone in Denver, Fox 31, I'm glad to hear you're finally having the cojones and the honesty in journalism to come, and you should have done this a week ago, and started putting the graphics up, letting people know 20,000 people have died of influenza in the United States. Well, how many have we had died of this? Less than 20 or 30. Every death is a tragedy, no matter how it happens. It's a going home party, but it's still. And if you succumb because of a virus, that sucks. Listen, I just finished this book. I highly recommend it. It's called Bitten, written by Chris Newby. It's a good book. This is about, I'm a victim of the United States bioweaponry. I contracted Lyme disease in the day when they didn't know what really Lyme disease. It messed me up, folks. And then I contracted bacterial meningitis on top of that. Was in a coma for nearly 9 days. Had to learn how to talk again. Had to learn how to because my whole body, left side of it, was paralyzed. Know what this stuff does. Anyway, it's a good read. And I just keep questioning if this COVID-19, they've never come out and said, are we dealing with a genetically modified organism? You know, I don't know. We've got to stop it, though, folks. I mean, and I say this, if you're one of those fear mongers, you're a bigot. Yeah, I call people out for a bigot because, listen, you're looking at one of the biggest bigots that was ever around. What is a bigot? Do you really know the definition of a bigot? Well, you know what? It's something that we all suffer from, kids. And let me just tell you, a bigot is defined by Merriam-Webster's dictionary, a person who is intolerant towards those holding different opinions. We don't want to be bigots. I was dealing with some serious situations over. I had to cancel a program that I was going to have for Saturday night. And some of the crap that I had to delete, I left some of it up there. But folks, I mean, is this becoming an epidemic? I don't know. It would appear, apparently. We got to stop this, folks. People, you know what happens when you live under a constant amount of stress, induced stress? It has a built-up delayed reaction. People were already, because of this last shift that came through, this wave, people were already on edge. It was evidence in the statistics. In America, more violence and murders are happening in the cities this year alone. It's going to be a record year for violence. And now when you add this type of stress where people think that they're going to have to do without, they're not going to be able to at least live the type of life that they had, be able to get the kind of stuff that they've been able to get all along. You cut that out. You've just induced a new psychosis. People begin to act irrationally. They snap at people. They write rude, demeaning comments. What a pretty picture you must be to write some of the stuff that's written there. My advice is just don't write anything at all. If you're that much of a bigot, keep your mouth shut. But it's not, the problem is that this is, again, you're seeing these psychoses coming up, and you're going to see them more and more. So let's just stop, folks. Let's encourage one another. Why is that so hard? I often wonder, if there really was a pandemic. Let's say like the 1918 Spanish flu. Folks, that culled the population. That, along with World War I. We barely had time to recover that, and then we went into World War II. It was one of the largest cullings of the human population of that time, the 20th century. We're going to have, they're certainly trying to start one. And one thing I do know, love will, it'll keep your body alive. You have an attitude of gratitude, an attitude of favor, your body is going to respond. You're going to have powerful antibodies. Why? Because you're releasing the neurons that are necessary to start the chemical reaction within this marvelous piece of engineering. The more you love yourself, the more you speak favor into your life, the favor to others, that becomes a constant thought. There's very little room for these type of other natural substances. That's why some people have a natural immune system to some of the things that you wouldn't think that they would. I agree with you, Karen. Absolutely. We as a collective, yep, we can change this. We can say, no, thank you. We don't want it. Out of here, Jack. Someone has said to me over the weekend, because I have joy. I laugh, I inject that as part of my essence. And one person said, I haven't laughed, and they were being very serious, in months. The person looked at me and said, thank you. Thanking me because they laughed. Let me ask you something, ladies and gentlemen. How many people leave you and thank you for making them laugh? How many people have come up to you and say, thank you for bringing some joy into my life? You didn't make a religion out of it. You didn't make it obligatory to anything. You just brought joy. You brought laughter. How many people have said thank you? How many of you? Come on, be honest. Let me tell you, that's the highest compliment a human spirit can receive. When another spirit says thank you for bringing joy, thank you for bringing laughter, for teaching me how to laugh again, that's what makes one a powerful wizard. It's what makes one a powerful witch. It's how we begin to change this. Think about it. That's all I got to say. Think about it. All right. I want to address something that gotten a number of emails about this. And I understand. I'm going to tell the 4 individuals, y'all don't even know what you wrote to me. You don't even know each other. But when 4 different individuals write to me about the fear of dying, I have an obligation to come back and to address that. To the person who wrote me, I want this spoken to you, others, if it helps, latch onto it. To be afraid of death is like being afraid of moving into a new house. That's all it is. Someone said, my greatest fear is two things. Should have been fears, dear, but that's okay. Number one, I'm afraid of the pain of death, and I am afraid of hell. Well, let me address the second one first. Number one, you're under a spell still. Hell doesn't exist. It was made up. We're going to actually go through a book review called How They Invented Hell. I think you're going to like this. It's from a religious perspective. But I think that once we go through this again, I've done other videos on this, but a lot of new people here. And listen, fear is fear. So we'll address that. And the other thing about pain, the pain of dying. Let me just say this. How much pain did your birth cause you? Did it hurt? Tell me where it hurt. No. We assume, because we put our experience to what we have with these bodies as they get older here. You see, folks, it's an illusion. I lost a friend who was shot. And I experienced a great deal of pain. Great deal of pain. Then something happened. Pain stopped. And shortly after, that person made the transition. Don't be afraid of death because it may or may not hurt. If it does, it's not going to last very long. So put that fear out of your mind. Quit being tormented by that. I'm being honest with you. I wish I could tell you that it's this orgasmic. Who knows? I've heard that that final moment is such a thing. I don't know. I just know what I've personally experienced. I tried to rescue a person who committed suicide in their car. I was living in Knoxville, Tennessee at the time. And, I wasn't near as awake as I am now. And I tried to save him. Couldn't, it was burnt my hands and, but I saw him die. And, those are the things that you realize what life is about. Now, wish I could have done something for that individual, couldn't. But so I'm trying to tell you, you got to be afraid of it. It's no different than being afraid to be born. Maybe we were. I'll have to talk with Trina about that tomorrow. On the second look, I don't know. Just thinking about that, well, going, I don't have much of a memory of that, but it helps to put these things in perspective. And folks, I'm just telling you, you don't need to be afraid. Now, another person said, well, it's odd because how they came at this. The other person said, well, their biggest fear is that, and they don't have a religious belief. They didn't have, any of that. That theirs is that I think everything I have is this, if I go back to this, communal energy, that I lose my memories. I want to share something with you about the nothingness. I learned about this from a source that taught me a long time ago, there is a place that's literally called the nothingness. Now, the nothingness sounds frightening, doesn't it? I contend a vast amount of spirit energy goes to the nothingness. I think this is where the gods who no longer have people who believe in them go. It very well may be that this is where all of our thoughts go. So what is the nothingness? Don't be afraid of the nothingness. It's not what you think. And let me just bring this up real quick. So here's a definition of the nothingness. The nothingness is the absence or sensation of life or existence. It's also the sensation of worthlessness, unimportantness, and important and insignificant. The vast majority of people see themselves in the last three categories. They see themselves, their lives, as worthless. They see themselves as being unimportant, and they see that their lives are basically insignificant. That is a lie. Your life is an expression of something. No one can duplicate that. We grow up all of our lives trying to emulate others, trying to collect more material things because that makes us feel more important. Because what we're trying to do in every one of these cases is overcome the demon of worthlessness, and it's your demon, your devil, your Satan. You think that your life is unimportant and that you're insignificant. It's quite different. Nothingness is not oblivion. I dare say there probably is a plane of existence that is called the oblivion. Don't want to visit it. The nothingness doesn't scare me. When I do a lot of my astral travels these days, there's a lot of nothingness. It's amazing. In your meditations, you know this. It's the nothingness that you are finding yourself immersed in. Don't be afraid of the nothingness. Now, here are some questions to ponder. People, ask yourself, and I'm going to help you on this. Will I remember? That seems to be the big deal. Now, the devastating thing about the diseases of dementia, you see an example in Joe Biden. Joe Biden has advanced dementia. It's a sad thing that they put us up there, but that's what dementia looks like, and it gets worse. Dementia begins to steal who you are, and you begin to try to reinvent who you're not. Does that make sense? A lot of times this is, will all the wisdom I gained be lost? I mean, you think about it. If you spent your life studying, going through the trials and errors to gain wisdom, wisdom doesn't come without a price. Is consciousness transferred at death? That's the big question. Science tries to answer it, philosophers, religion. Is consciousness lost upon death? Medical science would say yes. That bright light everybody talks about is nothing more than neurons exploding. And it's hitting your retina nerve that is also dying and exploding. And the subsequent result is a bright light or that which looks like a tunnel. Pretty freaking cold, isn't it? And then the question comes, can a spirit be manufactured? Are you manufactured? We all want to say that we're created. No evidence of that. None. To be at perfect peace, a lot of people say that that's what death is. Well, that literally means no motion. Perfect peace means no resistance. Is death a spirit? If so, it lives. Maybe it's not death, maybe it's a transmutation. Maybe it's a conduit, like an electrical plasma beam. What is the purpose of death? Is not death perfection within itself? And are all spirits universally the same? If you're on your departure and you start thinking these thoughts, I'm telling you what, you're going to go into a different plane of existence. And try as you will, there is nothing to see. Close your eyes right now. What do you see? You see a form of darkness. Darkness is light. So there is another reality. Religion doesn't like to talk about it. Philosophy doesn't like to talk about it. Theology, And Alan Watts, many of you are Alan Watts fans. I think Alan said it best. Nothing is more creative than death, since it is the whole secret of life. It means that the past must be abandoned. That the unknown cannot be avoided. That I cannot continue, and that nothing can be ultimately fixed. When a man knows this, he lives for the first time in his life. By holding his breath, he loses it. By letting go, he finds it. Alan Watts. I encourage all of us to become Alan Watts students. My opinion, but I think Alan Watts was the greatest gift the 20th century brought to mankind. So, Epicurus, why should I fear death? If I am, death is not. If death is, I am not. Why should I fear that which I can only exist when I do not? We've been thinking about this for a while. Alan Watts again. We are living in a culture entirely hypnotized by the illusion of time, in which the so-called present moment is felt as nothing but an infinitesimal hairline between a causative past and an absorbently important future. We have no present. Our consciousness is almost completely preoccupied with memory and expectation. We do not realize that there never was, is, nor will be any other experience than the present experience. We are therefore out of touch with reality. Another way of looking at this, folks, this nothingness is from which everything comes. It may, in fact, be the ether itself. We look at this because we have been trained wrong. We've been taught wrong. Nothingness is God. Epicurus again. Is God willing to prevent evil, but not able? Then he is not omnipotent. Is he able, but not willing? Then he is malevolent. Is he both able and willing? Whence come evil? He is neither able nor willing. Then why do we call him God? Did you know all numbers begin and end in zero? Yes. So I want to get to one point that I want you to really understand. There was only one door of light, and you already walked through it because you are light. You're just shedding that which prevents your light from shining through. Think about that. Nothingness is really like the nothingness of space, which contains the whole universe, all the sun, all the stars, the mountains and rivers, and the good men and the bad men, the animals and the insects, the whole bit. All are contained in a void. So out of this void comes everything, and you're it. You see, this is all of us. There is no one else when it really comes down to it but you. The nothingness. Nothing is more fertile than emptiness. I did not say emptiness. The nothingness is not emptiness. That's a whole different thought. Death, therefore, the most awful of evils, is nothing to us, seeing that when we are, death is not come, and when death is come, again, we are not. It comes down to this. Once you accept the fact that this is the inevitable, it's far out to live life. It's the hardest thing, and I'm going to get out of here. Is because, well, it's used to control us. I was putting this together and adding to it today, and I stopped and I sat back, and I really looked back and I said, the greatest harm that has been done in my life, which actually was the incinerator that propels it, was that we become so afraid of death that we become afraid to live. It literally incapacitates our spirits, our creativity of our spirit, our soul. Because the human mind can perceive death, but the human mind individually will never see itself dying. It's this auto protection program we have scripted into us. And if you can override the script and realize that it's merely a door. If you believe many concepts in religion, then many of us have experienced it many times. So they can scare us with, a supposed virus. They can scare us to think that there's going to be shortages. They can scare us into turning on our brothers or sisters. Do you know that they're actually shooting people over toilet paper? Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought wiping your ass would become such a big deal? Oh, I'm sorry, folks. That's no, I'm not. That just, it cracks me up when I think about some of the human beings are I think they really got together and said, we can't let those people off that planet. Them people are insane. Look what they do. We want that out into the universe? Hell no. We'll keep these monkeys so preoccupied they won't know what the hell they're doing. Because I get that age, right? Do you know they got a show about eating chicken wings? Well, you just got to keep them preoccupied, Wayne. Let me just see what's going on. Stellar Core says they're fighting over rotting food on cruise ships. Yeah. How would you like that? Listen, I've never gone on a cruise. Don't want to go on a cruise. I mean, I can remember back in the late 70s and 80s, when they had the Legionnaires, they had Czars, they had all this crap that was coming in on cruise ship. And I'm going, norovirus. Norovirus is the scourge of cruise ships, because they can't prevent that. You don't see the whole world getting all freaked out because of the norovirus, right? Oh, well, we had 1,000, paying customers all on the crapper all day, No, you don't hear that. But I wouldn't get on a cruise ship. My wife has been on one, and she says that, unless you get one of the staterooms, which you pay out of the apparently very expensive, that the typical cabin is like about a 10 by 10 or 8 by 8. Holy crap, folks. Can you imagine being held up and you're in there with someone else, either your wife, your mate, or whoever. So now you got two people occupying 8 by 8 room. I wonder how much of the romance laughs after that. I mean, seriously, if you pass that initiation, you're good for life, man. Just, pass on, go, and, collect $200 as you're at it. Someone says the size of a jail. Yeah. I mean, and you got to think, I mean, you have to have empathy for those folks. They went there to have Disneyland on the water, and Vegas and all of that thrown together. And what do they get? They get Rikers Island. I mean, that just sucks. and I'm going to tell you the other thing, flying. I don't fly anymore. Boy, I used to. Are you kidding me? Folks, we all know it. Here's the little secret that they don't tell you. Well, Big Al, you might want to rethink that. I don't know. That might not be a wise choice, but airplanes. So you do realize that virtually 90% of the air is recycled. The reason why airlines don't recycle the air more, it takes more fuel. Now, they could literally flood the cabin with an exchange, but it's cheaper because, again, they don't have to use that much fuel. Now, just think with this environment. I mean, folks, they're already getting incidences of where people are going cuckoo when they start getting up in the air. Their psychosis sets in. Now they're thinking, oh my God, I'm breathing this air. This person next to me, I don't know, they may got the virus. They're breathing on me. I can't take it. Where's the door? Actually happened. Yeah. Go on a cruise ship, join the Navy. There you go, John Price. Now that's the way to do it. That's the way to see it. I'll tell you. I love going and touring, did a lot of traveling to San Diego and got to go on the USS Missouri. And that's just, I enjoy it. Anytime you get to going up to Boston, go and see the USS Constitution. There's in New York City, you have, I think it's the, what is it? The Triad or something else there. It's there. Okay. This has been fun. Folks, I'm going to be doing something, and I'm still working on it, but I want us to think about, I just presented the nothingness, right? Well, again, it's a thought. Who knows if the nothingness exists? Who knows? We may step through a portal or something and have it completely different. I try to see if they say what happens here is a representation of what happens over there. I don't know. I mean, many philosophies and theologies say so. But so think about here. When you're born here, you come into this world absolutely defenseless, helpless. And if another human or other humans do not intervene on your behalf, your life expectancy here will be very limited. Would you agree? I cannot help but not think that what happens over there? So often when I've quizzed people on this and I ask them to get very serious with me and detail what they perceive the afterlife to be. Sadly, most people can't do that. I mean, they become flippant, ambiguous. But when I ask them to please detail me, what do you see the next part of your existence to be? Now, I think it's alarming that mindset seems to permeate the human race. This is our species. What if we have been missing it? What if we could begin to prepare here? Now, I think violence exists in the spirit realm. You know why I say that? Enough evidence of poltergeists and other attacks of spirits. So it's very obvious violence seems to be a reality in the afterlife. Okay, that's the first red flag. So obviously, we will be encountering other spirits that are psychosis, they're psychotics. I don't think that a personality cleansing takes place. If you're a raging asshole here, I think you're going to be a raging asshole over there. I don't see the lobotomy of personalities on everyone that comes over, and you're just simply a blank stamp. If you are afraid that consciousness, your memories are not going with you, then no big deal. But if they do, I think you're carrying it over there as well. And if we go over counting on someone else's teaching, someone else's perception without doing the inside work, preparing, I'm preparing myself for battle. I don't think it's this rosy place that, everyone paints. I think that there is a place that can be ahead, but I'm not quite buying this whole thing that suddenly everyone is just placid over there. Everyone is like they're on Ellaville, has no personality, all is good, et cetera, et cetera. No, I think that there is as much evil as there is good. I don't think that apparently, if you take one particular religious philosophy and add, actually there's several that would be included, there's a freaking war going on over there. There's a war that's been going on far before we probably ever came into existence. And you think I'm going to go over there unprepared? You're going to go over there thinking someone is going to be waiting for you. Someone is going to be nurturing you, protecting you. That's what religion sells you. And then you get the shock of your existence. Yeah, Hadley, I think a douchebag is a douchebag. If there were one here, listen, how many of us have met people that absolutely have no empathy? What, do you think they're suddenly going to get a huge dose of it in the ass as they're passing through? Bend over, baby. We're going to give you some in here to help you on your attitude. I don't think so. I'm not buying that. I'm just not. I mean, if you believe in the fact that there's angels, demons, then what you are, you're conscript into this battle. You're a conscript. And your ass is going to most likely be captured when you go through. How many of our different theologies can we add to that one? Yeah. Well, thank you, Susie Q. I'm just being honest. You don't hear this talked about. I mean, I just don't see the lobotomy going over that, well, this is George Jones. He was a real jack off over in the real world. How are you doing, George? And he's still a jackass there. He hasn't changed. I don't know. I could be wrong. David Castle, I'm not saying that you're going to manifest that reality, but what I am saying is that we need to prepare. I think the biggest thing that most of us lack, belief in your name. You're going to be challenged. They're going to ask you who you are. And if you start fumbling around going, no. How many people believe in the power of their name to raise the dead, to stop the elements, speaking in your name? If you don't believe in your name here, don't think you're going to have another name over there. I wish it worked that way. I don't think it does from what they're telling me. Simple questions, huh? It's like, okay, well, do you believe in the power of your name? Gemma Baker, I don't know. Let me go with Jennifer and Susie and the rest of y'all. How about if we go and say, Patricia, do you believe in the power of your name? Do you think your name can stop energetic spirits? Does your name stop those things that attack you? Brandy, you said, but you see, that's just the thing. That's how it is. You didn't ask for your birth either. Your name was given you. That name is that name. It was given to you for a purpose and a reason. None of us gave ourselves our name. And then that would then imply, Brandy, that you walk over there. And so who are you going to say who you are? It's absurd when you think about it from a common sense point of view that you wouldn't say who your name is. You go before a judge in a court of law, I'll guarantee you one thing, you will speak your name, your full name. Well, Darth, you're trying to become analytical. Who do you go by? Well, who do you answer to? I mean, it's a common sense question. So you got 2 names at birth. Maybe you got 4 names. Who do you identify yourself with? You're playing games with yourself when you're doing that. Either you start believing in who you are now to cross over there. It's not the time. That's just my opinion. I speak my name out. I don't get hung up on, well, I may have another name. No, I only have one name. This is reality right here. And I don't know how you practice magic if you don't believe in your own name. It's the simple things in life. All right, folks. I am just telling you, you've got to believe in your name. If you don't, no one else is. No one else ever will. Why would a spirit believe in you? You don't believe in yourself. That's all right, Darth. We all get down that road, buddy. Trust me, we do. It's love, folks. And that's just it. It's part of loving yourself. I love who I am. Took me a long time, folks, to get to that. That's why when I pass over, no one can hold any judgment against me. Accuse me all you want. You know what I'm going to say? True. True. What else you got? Once you do that, takes all the wind out of the sail. My imperfectness is what makes me perfect. I revel in my imperfectness because in my perfectness, you see how it is? I've experienced all of that. One more name from this current lifetime. Well, you know what, Brandy? I don't have enough memories of past lifetimes, so I only know this. Reality states that it's only the present that really counts. I could have 1,000 of past lifetimes. None of those matter. What does matter is what's present. That's what I have to be held accountable to. I can't be held accountable for something that may have been that I have no memory of. I can only be accountable to myself in the present. Okay. Summer of 2020, the summer of healing, folks. Put the flowers out there. Come on. Is there any more of a time where we could use healing as a culture, as a society, as the races? My goodness. We need to do something, folks. Okay. Thank you, Brandy. Yeah, I learned that, because I used to be a worrier about that. Well, what did I come here to do this time? No, you know what it is? I finally figured out. It's at this very moment. It's what I have to be accountable for right at this very moment. So, all right. Oh, you beautiful people. Namaste to you all. And you're just gorgeous. Well, thank you, Regine. Thank you. Very kind of you. Look at Truth in Me. I love the flowers. And then we all go listen to the cow sills, Yeah, What is it? The Rain in the Park, Suddenly, yeah, you got no. I'll play it for y'all later on. All right. Al, you be safe out there on the road, buddy. Love you, man. Love all the rest of y'all. Smile. Let's try to leave people, and let's try to let them say thank you for us bringing some joy. Thank you for bringing laughter. Yeah. That's better than the finger of independence, right? Just kidding. All right, folks. I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Bye-bye.